Um, okay, we'll get started here in a second. Let me get us live on Facebook. Because I have to do all this technical stuff myself. I don't have the technical person. I'm the non-technical person. Got it. I know. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, we should be coming up here live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul. And tonight we're going to continue our study about Jesus. Who, what, where, when, in the local universe or origins. And this is part 3 of this series. Who knows how many parts it's going to be? 250 at the rate I'm going. Maybe. Okay. Let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight that we might study your wonderful revelation. We thank you for the opportunity to do this. We thank you for those who come and listen. And the many people that's listening to us at home through Facebook and YouTube and Vimeo. And we thank you for all those that try to expand their horizons every day. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. Amen and amen. Oh, okay. Let's we're starting on a new slide tonight, and Rodney suggested something last time that I want to address before we get started, and that is he asked if I could review what we did last time, and I thought about it, and I'm going to forego that because we got so little time that if I spent 5 or 6 minutes, it just takes away from what we're doing. So I'm just going to get right into it. And doing that tonight, we're going to start talking about the divine minister or the local universe mother spirit tonight. And there's a couple things I want to say before we start on this slide. First of all, she is not mentioned in the Bible. Did y'all ever notice that?
That's very much so. This women have.
Not at all.
Who was not mentioned?
The local universe mother spirit. Now, the Holy Spirit, which is part of her circuits, is mentioned multiple times, but not the local universe mother spirit. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to tell you the reason for that. Because the Bible was written by men. Some inspired, not so much inspired. Okay? And so they did not have anyone teach them after Melchizedek taught them about the local universe mother spirit. And apparently, because the Bedouins didn't think women were important, they didn't include it in any of their writings. Right? So why is it in the Urantia book then? Well, the Urantia book's not written by men. It's written by celestial beings. It was commissioned by Jesus, commissioned the midwayers and the revelatory commission of Salvington. And all these papers were written by midwayers and above, celestial beings. So there's nothing in the Urantia book that's written by men except for the quotes that they use, that they pull out of the Bible and that's for us, right? To make us relate to it. So that's why there's no mention of the local universe mother spirit in any of the books of the Old Testament or New Testament. Okay. All right. So let's start off from the top tonight. And Diane, would you take the first one, please?
Thank you. When the Creator's Son departs from paradise to embark upon the adventure of universe making, to become the head, virtually the God, of the local universe of his own organization, then, for the first time, he finds himself in intimate contact with, and in many respects dependent upon, the third source and center. The infinite spirit, though abiding with the Father and the Son at the center of all things, is destined to function as the actual and effective helper of each creator son. Therefore is each creator son accompanied by a creative daughter of the infinite spirit. that being who is destined to become the divine minister, the mother spirit of the new local universe.
Okay, so remember last time we were talking about how the Creator Son is created by God the Father and God the Son, right? Those two beings of the Trinity. Now, the third part of the Trinity, the third source and center, or the infinite spirit. And so I need to make this clear that when they mention the third source and center, they're talking about the third person of the Trinity or the infinite spirit. Okay. They use that interchangeably, and it can be confusing for people that aren't used to hearing it that way. But while the Creator Sons are still in paradise, they're talking about here, they're still in paradise, and they're getting ready to go out on their mission to create a local universe, right? And during that period of time, while he's still in paradise, he's in intimate contact with the infinite spirit. Because what happens is the infinite spirit prepares this eventuated being, which will be the helper of the Creator Son to create his local universe. Okay. And this is called a creative daughter, just like a creator son is called a creator son. The local universe mother spirits are called creator daughters. And that's a right term, because without the creative daughter, the creator son would not have what he needed to physically create the universe that he's going to. Okay, it's not done just by him, or it's not done just by her. They do it together as a pair. Okay, so one cannot create with the other without the other. They're companions. All right. And she later on, after they get this universe started, becomes what's called the divine minister. What are they talking about here? They're talking about she is the one that upholds all the physical circuits of the local universe, all the spiritual circuits, the gravity circuits, everything, all the circuits, all the way down to the material circuits that keep everything going. It is her that keeps all these things going, including the seven adjunct mind circuits, which we are encircuited in. Okay. So everything that's going in that local universe has first circuit run through it. Now, all the animals have 5 of these adjuncts, and human beings have 7. They have the last 2, which are worship and wisdom. But this divine minister becomes the mother spirit of the local universe, just as if you think about the infinite spirit as the mother spirit of the Trinity. Okay, it's analogous. Okay, and all these circuits that she takes care of originates in the infinite spirit. And we talked last time a little bit about how all the personality of all the angelic core and all the support people that keep things going all come from this infinite spirit, right? All right. You got that down, right? No questions. All right. Next one. Gary, would you take the next one, please?
I knew I was going to get it. All right, next time, got it. The next and continuing creative act of the infinite spirit is disclosed from time to time in the production of the creative spirits. Every time the universal Father and the eternal Son become parent to a creator Son, the infinite spirit becomes ancestor to a local universe creative spirit who becomes the close associate of the creator Son in all subsequent universe experiences. Isn't that what you just told us?
Yeah, that's what I just told you. So every time there's a creator son created, there's a creative mother spirit created at the same time that's the mate to him. Okay. And these all start in paradise. You know, both the creator son and the creative mother spirits all begin in paradise. Okay. It's where they start their training. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
So the mother spirit is also known as the creator spirit.
Creator spirit, that's correct.
Oh, you're not following the book,
Yeah,
huh?
just
You just jumped from 21 to 33.
yes, that's why I said when we started this. It
That's
goes
okay.
all over the place. For what?
I was up at 7:30 this morning, so I should go back to bed.
Yeah, this jumps paragraph to paragraph in some places, but it goes from a lot of different papers to try to put this story all together. See, the
Okay.
point of this, Gary, is to tell the story of what the real life of Jesus is and was and will be. Okay. See, we've been 2,000 years running around telling people the purpose of Jesus was to take away all the sins of the world, right? He was the sacrifice for sin for all the world. And that's wrong. It's incorrect. It's wrong. It always has been. And they got that from Paul the Apostle. Okay. Because he was a Jew and he'd spent his whole life sacrificing animals for their sins, right? So the only way he could make this message about Jesus palatable was to make Jesus the ultimate sacrifice for sin for all time. Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. And so the Christian church, instead of straightening him out back in when they should have, they grasped a hold of this. And so for the next 2,000 years, they've been running around convincing people that Jesus died for his sins. And we know from reading the Urantia book, no sacrifice is required for sin. God forgives sin on his own. And really, it's an affront to God to say that Jesus was a sacrifice for sin. Okay. That's about the grossest thing you could say to God the Father is that you do not forgive sin without a sacrifice of your own children, which is just insane. It always has been insane. But we
Have
were
you ever
raised that
told
way, huh?
Have you ever told a Christian that Jesus sacrificed himself on the cross for a much better reason than the forgiveness of sin?
Jesus did not sacrifice himself on a cross to start out.
I know. Well,
Okay.
yes, well,
Jesus was murdered. He was crucified. He was murdered by the Sanhedrin on the cross, and it did not have to happen. What Jesus did is Jesus willfully fulfilled his obligation of his bestowal as a human being, and part of that obligation is to live a normal life. And during that period of time, crucifixion was normal for many, many beings.
well,
As a way to die.
I thought when he was on the Mount Hermon, God said, if you want to end your soldiering on earth, I'm satisfied with that. And Jesus decided to go on and experience life in a more fuller sense. And he had the
Yes.
right all along that if he wanted to call it quits, he could. So to me,
He could
I'm
be,
saying
yeah.
that he experienced that agonizing death so he could experience what we go through, okay,
That's
to a
exactly
greater
right.
extent,
Yeah.
strictly just to experience it. And to me, to go through that much agony for that little bit of benefit shows tremendous love, which is far beyond the remission of sins.
Well, not only that, but he experienced the worst possible kind of death any human being could go through, right?
That was torture.
And it's not only as an example for us, but it was example for 10 million worlds that are his, that will be his throughout eternity. Okay. So it's not just us that he did this. He did this as an example for all beings, right? On all planets. Okay. But the point is this, he did not go to the cross as a redemption of sin. That
No,
is
he
my
wasn't.
whole point. And that has been taught to us and taught to us and taught to us. And that was the basis of the Christian church for years and years and years. It still is. on many churches. Okay, and it's not true. And that's part of what this revelation, the Urantia book, is about teaching us what his real mission was, right? That's why the whole last, however many 100 pages, the last third of the book is about the life of Christ. So that it shows the love of God and the brotherhood of God, right? Not that Jesus came to die because we were all bad boys, That's basically what we're saying. We're also filthy with sin, that we needed some kind of blood sacrifice to do it. And it never was the case. The way the Bedouins felt, they sacrificed human beings. Look at all the hundreds and thousands of people that were sacrificed to false gods coming up to the point of Jesus, right? A lot of waste of human potential and life for nothing, because they couldn't understand that God the Father forgives sin. They didn't understand the love of God. That was the whole point. Instead of loving God, we were taught to fear and to fear God to the point where we felt like we had to give some kind of huge sacrifice so that he would even allow us to go on. Some kind of penance, right? And it's not necessary. And people don't like to hear me talk about this, but even the Urantians don't like to hear this because they're afraid we're going to push away Christians. No, it's time for Christians to become adult Christians. Okay? It's time to become spiritual adults and stop believing in fantasy. It's time to wake up. Jesus sent this message to us of what his real life was about. And that's why I'm doing this, telling what his real life was about, so that we can understand the vastness of the sacrifice he made, which was to come down and do 7 bestowals to earn his sovereignty so that he is our God. Okay, that's the biggest sacrifice he made, is to come down to do this. And all the creator sons do this, right? And it's time for us to start acting like spiritual adults and realize that, and realize the significance of his life, and stop putting this burden of sin on Jesus. It's not Jesus's place to take away your sin. It's your place to ask forgiveness for sin and stop sinning, right? That's why he says, be ye perfect, even as I am perfect, right? Stop doing it, right? That's what it's about, right? That's all I can say. Okay, now I'm preached for today. I'm all preached out, so let's go on. I think, Rodney, I think you were going to read, right?
I think so. We enjoy your preaching. You mentioned that the Bible doesn't, the New Testament doesn't teach us about the mother spirit. Through my reading of the 4th part, the Jesus part, I don't think Jesus mentions the mother spirit much, does he?
No, he doesn't, but he corrects that in this. He corrects that in giving us this revelation, right?
Yeah,
See, people don't realize the reason we got this revelation is it was commissioned by Jesus himself. Okay. And if we realize that, it actually states that at the end of one of the chapters of the book, or one of the papers in the book. Okay. So the reason we get this is Jesus wanted to straighten us out on certain things that happened in history, because we were acting like what? Spiritual adolescents, right? It's time for us to start acting like spiritual adults. And he gives us the meat in this book to do that, right?
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to read. 5,
All right, go for it.
the Trinity ambassadors. The administration of Trinity origin personalities ends with the government of the super universes. The local universes are characterized by dual supervision. The beginning of the Father, mother concept. The universe father is the creator son. The universe mother is the divine minister. The local universe creative spirit. Every local universe is, however, blessed with the presence of certain personalities from the central universe and paradise. At the head of this paradise group in Nebadon is the ambassador of the Paradise Trinity, Emmanuel of Salvington, the Union of Days assigned to the local universe of Nebadon. In a certain sense, this High Trinity Son is also the personal representative of the Universal Father to the court of the Creator Son, hence his name, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel is translated as God with us. Okay, that's what Emmanuel means. All right, so he is the ambassador representation of the Paradise Trinity in the court of Michael, right? That's why Michael calls him his elder brother. He was created an instant before Michael was. Okay, so for every creator son, there's a union of days, right? And they're probably all called what? Emmanuel, right? Because they're representing God to the local universe.
Are you
All right.
saying the union of days and Emmanuel are one and the same?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, just like Michael and Jesus are one and the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we say Michael, we're talking about Jesus. If we talk about Jesus, we're talking about Michael, right? They're the
Yeah,
one
it's
and the
just
same
different
being.
names.
Different names. Just like the local universe mother spirit is the same as the local universe creative spirit, right? Okay. They never tell us her name. Now, if you believe these channelers, they've come up with a name for her. Okay, so you can believe that or not, you know. Okay. Here we go. Lex, your beautiful reading is next. All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Lex.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Emmanuel of Salvington, number 611,121 of the sixth order of Supreme Trinity personalities, is a being of sublime dignity and of such superb condescension that he refuses the worship and adoration of all living creatures. He bears the distinction of being the only personality in all Nebadon who has never acknowledged subordination to his brother Michael. He functions as advisor to the sovereign son, but gives counsel only on request. In the absence of the creator son, he might preside over any high universe council, but would not otherwise participate in the executive affairs of the universe except as requested.
Okay, notice that he has the same exact number as Michael, right? Created just before Michael. And he is considered the sixth order of Supreme Trinity personalities. He comes from paradise, right? He's created by God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. All right. And notice here it says he bears the distinction, the only personality who's never acknowledged subordination to his brother Michael. Why would that be?
Because he's the older brother.
He's the older brother, and he
was
is
not
there. Huh?
He was not created by Michael or in the mother spirit.
He was not created by Michael or anything. He is a representation of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. Hang on. Come on. Come on. Go on. You going? Kitty doodies. kitty doies. All right, so he does not have to acknowledge subordination because he is an ambassador from God the Father and the Trinity. Okay, so he's not actually an organic part of our local universe. He's assigned here. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right. And he only acts upon the request of Michael. So when Michael went on his first bestowal, okay, which we're going to talk about sometime in the future, when he went on his first bestowal, guess who took over?
Oh, it says so,
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
That's right, because Michael requested him to take over his local universe and act in his stead, right? And why is that? Because he's the only being above Michael that could handle that responsibility. Make sense? Okay. There weren't any other creator sons around that say, hey, could you take my universe for a few weeks while I go do a basol? You know, didn't work that way, right? So that's what these union of days do, right? And he only acts in these capacities if requested, right? So he took Michael's place in all 7 bestowals. He took the place of Michael, right? He also did what? He gave Michael advice before he went on his bestowals, okay? And paper 120 is just that, the advice of Emmanuel before he went on his bestowal, okay? And you can read what he said to him, which is pretty interesting. Okay.
Now, you telling me
So-
again that Emmanuel is the same as the Union of Days?
He's the union of days, right? The next little picture I got on the screen says right there, it says Emmanuel, quote,
Okay.
quote, union of days, right? In parentheses, right? All right. And you can read that slide on your own, but it's the same information of the slide we just talked about. Okay, so Emmanuel is assigned to our universe by God the Father. All right. Now, let's go
Roger.
on more. See this? Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there's only 3 beings with that unique number.
Correct.
Okay.
Emmanuel, Michael, and our local universe mother spirit, right?
Same number.
Those 3 beings, same exact number. And we're going to hear that again, right? In this next paragraph. All right, Diane.
1. Michael of Nebadon. Our Creator Son is the personification of the 611,121st original concept of the infinite identity of simultaneous origin in the universal Father and the eternal Son. The Michael of Nebadon is the only begotten Son, personalizing the 611,121st universal concept of divinity and infinity. His headquarters is in the threefold mansion of light on Savanton. And this dwelling is so ordered because Michael has experienced the living of all 3 phases of intelligent creature existence: spiritual, urantia, and material. Because of the name associated with the 7th and final bestowal on Urantia, he is sometimes spoken of as Christ Michael.
Okay. All you Bible thumpers, I'm going to wake you up tonight. You're going to get mad at me, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, Michael, number 1, was not born of a virgin. He was born of a maiden. The seed from Joshua, or from Joseph, became the Creator Son, okay? Michael's being was instilled in the baby before birth. Okay, that's part of the mystery of the bestowal. Okay, all creator sons go through this same thing. They're born as babies on the planets and their local universe. This is the history of your creator. This is the history of Jesus. This is the history of Michael. This is where Michael came from. Okay? You can stay in all the fantasy world you want to and think that Jesus was just born as a sacrifice to be killed for your sins, but wake up, he was much more than that. Okay? All that was not necessary. He would have come to this planet. I don't care if Jesus was instilled in a donkey, he would still been the creator son. Okay? But all creator sons are instilled in a human subject of their creation. Okay? That's the point here. Okay, and when it says here that our creator son is the personalization of the 611,121st concept of infinite deity, it originated from the Father and the eternal Son, and there's 700,000 of them. There's actually over 1 million of them, but there's 700,000 that are assigned one to each local universe of the 7 super universes. That's 100,000 for each super universe. All right. But he's still the only begotten son that came to our planet, and he's still the only begotten son in this local universe that's the creator son. Okay? And he lives on Salvington, which is our universe headquarters. Okay, he's still living there. All right. And they call it the threefold mansion of light because Michael himself has existed or been bestowed as a material being, as a human baby, a Urantia being, as a Urantia being right after his time here on earth, and as a spiritual being in his other bestowals. Okay, so he's been and experienced all 3 types of existence that he created. Okay, and they refer to him in this book sometimes because he is known as Christ on this planet, and that's why they call him Christ Mike. Makes sense? So this is the origins of your God or your creator son or Jesus. Okay, this is from paper 34 of the local universe mother spirit. Gary.
Okay, which one you want?
When the
34?
creator son. Yep.
Oh, when the creator son is personalized? No.
Yep.
Okay. Paper 34, the local universe mother spirit. When a creator son is personalized by the universal father and the eternal son, then does the infinite spirit individualize a new and unique representation of himself to accompany this creator son to the realms of space, there to be his companion, first in physical organization and later in creation and administration to the creatures of the newly projected universe.
Okay, remember when we talked about the creator son and how when God the Father and the eternal son took this ideal and added personality to it, it eventuated a new and unique being, which was the creator son, right? Remember that from past? All right. At the same time, the infinite spirit by himself eventuates a being to be the creator son's mate. Okay. The same time the universal father and the eternal son eventuates a creator son, the infinite spirit, it says, individualize a new and unique representation of himself. So he eventuates a portion of himself to be a new being, which turns into being the local universe mother spirit. Okay. So you call that eventuation. Okay. All right. You can see why I pulled these from different places. I pulled all these paragraphs that have these numbers in it so that you can see it's consistent throughout the book. All right. It rearranged my screen again, didn't it? Okay, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes. The universe mother spirit of Salvington, the associate of Michael, in the control and administration of Nebadon, is of the sixth group of supreme spirits, being the 611,121st of that order. She volunteered to accompany Michael on the occasion of his liberation from paradise obligations, and has ever since functioned with him in creating and governing his universe.
Okay, and that shows her number, right? Again, she is of the sixth group of supreme spirits, just like the creator sons. Okay? The sixth group of supreme spirits originate in paradise. Okay? Now, notice here it says she volunteered. In other words, all creative mother spirits volunteered to accompany their creator sons. It's free will, right? But it says here, on the occasion of his liberation from paradise obligations. You see that? So before creator sons can leave paradise, they have certain obligations that they have to fulfill, and these obligations take billions of years. Okay, a long, long time. So these paradise obligations have to be completely fulfilled. He has to do his internship. She has to do her internship. All these things have to be finished before he's released to leave paradise on his journey of creation. Make sense? And the same with her, right? And when she does, she forever functions with him in creating and governing the universe. Okay?
Roger,
Yeah.
I don't remember studying anything about the supreme spirits.
The supreme spirit groups are part of, and remember how you have the 7 master spirits and the 7 supreme executives? Okay. The 7 master spirits being children of the infinite spirit, for one. All circuits that go down from the infinite spirit go through one of the 7 master spirits, right? You still with me? They're part of that 6th group of supreme spirits. So you can think of it like this. The 6th group of supreme spirits is much akin to the creator sons, the magisterial sons, and the Trinity teacher sons on paradise, but they are actually, the 7 supreme spirits are at the head of the 7 super universes. Think of it that way, right? But they're created from paradise. You follow me? And we could go, one of these days we'll go through the supreme spirit groups again and talk about that in great detail. Okay. But let me hit this link. I can hit control and go to this.
I was going to ask if you could do that.
Come on, work for me. There it goes. Okay. The supreme spirits. It says right here, this is in paper 17. Okay.
It didn't come up.
It's also
here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to share this. I'm sorry. Let me stop this share. Share screen again, and there we go. It didn't come up because it's not a shared. There we go. Should be coming up now. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Okay, the 7 supreme spirit groups are, this is paper 17, but this is the 7 supreme spirit groups. The
Okay.
top one is the 7 master spirits. You see that? The second one is the supreme executives, and the supreme executives dwell on the satellites around paradise, on the dwelling places of the infinite spirit satellites. You follow me?
Okay.
Okay. Underneath them is the reflective spirits, the image age, the 7 spirits of the Havona circuits, which is part of the infinite spirit, right? The local universe mother spirits, and the adjutant mind spirit, which is part of the mother spirit, right? So this is part of the 7 supreme spirit groups, but they as far as height-wise go on the pecking order of the universe, they consider this the very top, Rodney, more than anything else, right? Because the 7 master spirits is the very top of the 7 super universes. You follow me?
Mhm.
All right. Let me stop this share and go back to the other one. Here we go. Should be coming back up here. There we go. Right? So you think of it this way. The mother spirit acts in liaison with the supreme spirits, right? The master spirits and the executives. You with me still? Okay, so she's part of that 7 supreme group, that 6 groups of the, she's in the 6th group of the supreme spirits, the 6th down. You follow me? That makes
Okay.
more sense? Okay.
Interesting.
So once that Michael has finished all his obligations, then they're free to go to start on their little project here. Okay, personalization of the creative spirit, and let you get the biggest one of the night. You just
Okay.
lucky.
Oh, want me to do this
All
one?
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Personalization of the creative spirit. After the completion of the physical organization of a starry and planetary cluster and the establishment of the energy circuits by the super universe power centers, subsequent to this preliminary work of creation by the agencies of the infinite spirit, operating through and under the direction of his local universe creative focalization. There goes forth the proclamation of the Michael Sun that life is next to be projected in the newly organized universe. Upon the paradise recognition of this declaration of intention, there occurs a reaction of approval in the paradise trinity, followed by the disappearance in the spiritual shining of the deities of the master spirit, in whose super universe this new creation is organizing. Meanwhile, the other master spirits draw near this central lodgment of the paradise deities, and subsequently, when the deity embraced master spirit emerges to the recognition of his fellows, there occurs what is known as a primary eruption. This is a tremendous spiritual flash, a phenomenon clearly discernible as far away as the headquarters of the super universe concerned. And simultaneously, with this little understood Trinity manifestation, there occurs a marked change in the nature of the creative spirit presence and power of the infinite spirit resident in the local universe concerned. In response to these paradise phenomena, there immediately personalizes in the very presence of the Creator Son, a new personal representation of the infinite Spirit. This is a divine minister, the individualized creative spirit helper of the Creator Son has become his personal creative associate, the local universe mother spirit.
Okay, so this talks about the personalization of the creative spirit. What are we talking about here? The creative spirit, though eventuated in the first place, okay, is not considered a personal being at this point. Okay, even though she's created, she's not considered a separate being, a personalized being from the infinite spirit itself. So if you were to communicate with that creative mother spirit at that point, she is still part of the infinite spirit. Okay, segregated out probably, but not personalized. Okay, so when we talked about how the infinite spirit personalizes all its core personnel itself, right? This is part of that process. So that personalization flows from the infinite spirit eventually into this creative spirit. And I've got a bunch of pictures here that's going to walk us through this to make this a little bit more understandable. Okay. It says here in this slide, it says, upon the completion of physical organization of a starry or planetary cluster, this all happens ahead of time before this personalization happens, okay? Of the starry planetary and the establishment of energy circuits, there's no energy circuits into this global universe yet. By the universe power center, subsequent to this primary work of creation by the agencies of the infinite spirit, operating through and under the direction of his local universe creative localization, there goes forth a proclamation of the Michael Son that life is next to be projected in this newly organized universe. Okay, so Michael's down here and the creative mother spirit are organizing all this stuff with the power directors and all that stuff, and he's got to get all this work approved by the Paradise Trinity. Okay, so let's keep going. So upon the recognition, upon this declaration of intent and the reaction of approval by the Paradise Trinity, there is followed the disappearance of the spiritual shining of the deities of the master spirit whose universe of this new creation is organizing. This is master spirit number 7. See this little thing here? This is master spirit number 7. So master spirit number 7 disappears into the spiritual shining of the Trinity. You see that? And we're going to find out why in a minute. Here we go. And when he does that, he draws near to the central lodgment of the paradise deities or the Trinity. And subsequent to the deity embrace by the Trinity, the master spirit emerges to his fellows with the recognition of his fellows. And there occurs at this point what's called a primary eruption. And that's what this is. So this is master spirit number 7. This is super universe number 7. And this primary eruption happens. It's called a tremendous spiritual flash, a phenomena clearly discernible as far away as the headquarters of the super universe concerned. And if you look down here at the edge here, you'll see this is the eruption. It goes all over the 7th super universe, but it goes all the way down to Nebadon, the new local universe. And you can see the emerging of the creative spirit down here, our local universe, the mother spirit. Now, why is this different? Because up to this point, Michael and the creative mother spirit were organizing nebula, matter, and everything that was being passed down by the physical controllers. Okay, so they're organizing. All right, at this point, it says this is a tremendous spiritual flash, a phenomena clearly discernible way as the headquarters of the super universe concerned, and simultaneously with this little understood Trinity manifestation, there occurs a marked change in the nature of the creative spirit presence. The power of the infinite spirit residing in the local universe concerned. In response to these paradise phenomena, there immediately personalizes in the very presence of the creative Son a new personal representation of the infinite spirit. Okay, so you can see how this happens. The eruption occurs and the creative spirit goes from this nebulous force from the infinite spirit to an actual personality, creative spirit for Michael. You see that? So you can say it's an eventuation of the personal creative mother spirit. Okay?
That's
All
interesting.
right. Yeah, it shows how everything happens, right?
It's sort of like a gigantic, it's sort of like
Uh-huh.
a gigantic supernova.
It is like a supernova that happens, and what comes out
Yeah.
of it is the local universe creative spirit. And at that point, she's personal. She's not part of the infinite spirit alone anymore. She's an actual personal being, right? That's why they call it personalization. Okay.
Okay. From and through this new personal segregation of the conjoint creator, there proceed the established currents and the ordained circuits of spirit power and spiritual influence, destined to pervade all the worlds and beings of that local universe. In reality, this new and personal presence is but a transformation of the pre-existent and less personal associate of the Son in his earlier work of physical universe organization.
So you see here, before this, she was an associate of Michael, but she was more part of the infinite spirit. She was still segregated from the infinite spirit slightly, but she could do her work as a non-personal being. But after this point, she's a personal being and an associate of the Creator's Son. And another important point here is this: instead of all the circuits that come from the infinite spirit going through just the infinite spirit and her, she actually takes charge of the circuits for her local universe. So all the power stuff and everything that will go through her at this point is literally hers. She inherits the universe. You know, when it talks about how Jesus inherited all power on heaven and earth, this is what they're talking about. The creative mother spirit was the keeper of all power in heaven and earth during Michael's bestowal, right? It was hers. All right. After his 7 bestowals, she hands it over to him as the sovereign of the universe, right? He turns around and gives it right back to her and becomes partners with her as the sovereign, right? So she gets it right back, right? Make sense? All right. A lot involved in it.
So,
You can see why it's an insult to Jesus. It's an insult to the local universe mother spirits. It's an insult to God the Father and everyone else to say that Jesus was a sacrifice for sin. Do you understand that?
Understanding and knowledge.
It's a lack of understanding and knowledge. You got it. Let me get back over here.
so Roger,
Yeah.
so that's, I guess I could say, layman's terms, once Michael and his designated part of the infinite spirit create their universe. And when it's time to create life, this happens. The spirit
Right, when
becomes
it's time,
personal.
yeah, when it's time to start to create beings, human beings, celestial beings, all beings that will occupy the local universe, that's when this happens. Because why? Because the local universe mother spirit has to be a personalized being to start the creation of all these beings, right?
So Gabriel was not here
No,
when the universe being
none of
created.
it. No.
He came after this happened.
Actually, it came after this happened. The personality of the creative mother spirit had to be intact to pass on personality through her to all the beings that were going to be created.
Right. I
Follow
understand.
me? Because the ones that are from God the Father come directly from God the Father, right? Don't have to have anything for that. But the ones that come from the infinite spirit has to have the local universe mother spirit for them to
To
pass through.
bestow it.
Gary. Yeah,
So prior to Jesus's last bestowal, all his and her actions had to be finally approved by God himself, I guess, the Trinity.
that's right. That's correct. Yeah, the Trinity. Right. Everything has to be approved. You know, if you remember, when Jesus left the tomb, okay, what did he do? First thing he did, went directly to God the Father, right? Got an approval from God the Father that his bestowal was good enough. Okay. Then he came back and did his Urantia stuff, right? So when he finished his Urantia stuff and everything was done, they had to approve everything. So when he went back to Salvington, that's what they called the Jubilee of Jubilees, right? Because it was a Jubilee of Jubilees, because all that Michael had started out to do was done, right? Completely. Okay, let me see where we at here. 25.
I'm next.
Right here. Yeah, we're just out of time. I do want to read this next paragraph because it kind of wraps up things so well. I'm going to read it myself, I think. This is in the relation of a stupendous drama in few words, but it represents about all that can be told regarding these momentous transactions. They are instantaneous, inscrutable, and incomprehensible. The secret of the technique and procedure resides in the Paradise Trinity. Of only one thing we are certain: the spirit presence in the local universe during this time of purely physical creation or organization was incompletely differentiated from the spirit of the Paradise infinite spirit. Whereas after the reappearance of the supervising master spirit from the secret embrace of the gods, the flash of the spiritual energy, the local universe manifestation of the infinite spirit suddenly and completely changes to the personal likeness of that of the master spirit, who was in transmuting liaison with the infinite spirit. The local universe mother spirit thus acquires a personal nature tinged by that of the master spirit of the super universe astronomic jurisdiction. So she gets the tinge of the seventh master spirit, right? Let me see if, hang on, y'all. I know we're out of time. Okay, with y'all's permission, I'm going to get one more paragraph in here because it wraps this whole idea up. The personalization, the presence of the infinite spirit, the creative mother spirit of the local universe, is known in Satania. That's our local system. as the divine minister. To all practical intents and spiritual purposes, this manifestation of deity is a divine individual, a spirit person. And she is so recognized and regarded by the Creator Son as a deity, right? It is through this localization and personalization of the third source and center in our local universe that the spirit could subsequently become so fully subject to the Creator Son that of this Son it is truly said, all power in heaven and earth has been entrusted to him. Okay, that says it all, right? It really does. All right, we're going to quit there because I'm out of time completely. Was this interesting to y'all tonight?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me goose pimples to even think of the magnificent process that all this took, and it upsets me for people to make out like this is no big deal. This book is not important. It is. It's the most important book we read. It's the most important information we learn as human beings on this planet. Okay. All the rest of the stuff we go through is noise. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. Okay, so let's say a prayer and we quit for tonight. Renee, you feel like prayer tonight?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Roger's time and his love for us and for his ability to share this extraordinary information with us so we can learn more about Michael and the Mother Spirit. And we give thanks for this opportunity that we've had to come together this evening so that we can learn more of this beautiful revelation. And we say all this in the name of Michael of Nebadon, in Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. And thank you all from all the different formats that listen to us, Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo, and all the different places. We're getting quite a few listens. This is a hard step to listen to, just look at slides and listen to me talk. So I know how difficult it is to get through these lessons, but I think they benefit everyone. I really do. I think they'll continue.
Oh, very much so. Thank you. Roger, I've noticed you've been cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, this is probably going dead.
Like it's shorting out a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to invest in some other way. I've got another microphone. I just got to get a stand for it. So we'll try that maybe next time if I get this to work.
But you're still understandable. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Listen, everybody, have a good night. I'm going to stop my Facebook here first. Stop recording.